Hello and welcome to newconsumer.tv. We're here today to talk about getting around London. Now, received wisdom has it that driving in London is not much fun and it's expensive to boot. Two electric car companies, however, argue they could save you thousands of pounds and be carbon neutral into the process. In the black corner, we've got Goingreen's G-Wiz. It costs about £8,000 for this new AC drive version. It's got a maximum speed of about 45 miles an hour and it weighs 665 kilograms. Over in the blue corner, we have Nice's Megacity. Now this is a bit more expensive at 10 grand. It only goes to 40 miles an hour and it weighs around 750 kilograms. We're going to take both into the centre of London and see if we can beat the congestion charge. I'm going to start with the Megacity. Right, well we're deep into the congestion charging zone here. We're just coming up over Westminster Bridge. So we've saved £8. We haven't had to say £8 to get into the congestion charging zone. And now that we're into Westminster, you don't have to pay parking charges if you've got an electric car. So it's a great way to thumb your nose at traffic wardens. Other financial savings include the fact that you get Class 1 motor insurance. You're looking at about £200 to £400, which is very cheap for London, as anyone who drives in this town will tell you. It's also road tax free thanks to the government, so you're already saving hundreds if not thousands of pounds depending on how much you drive. As you can see, it's really congested around here. We've just come off Parliament Square going down towards St James's Park, and I have to say I usually feel quite stressed out driving in traffic like this, but I don't know, it's partly because you've got a car here that just doesn't go very fast, so you don't bother trying to go fast. And the result is I'm quite chilled out actually. I'm not really that bothered. Well, as you can see, the interior is not like a Bentley, but then it's not bad either considering what you're paying. It's quite cheap and cheerful. Plastic finish on the dashboard. Boot space isn't bad. You've got enough room for a weekly shop. All in all, I say it actually fares quite well and compares quite well with an average petrol car. The handling on this is quite odd. It has no power steering, so it's not too bad now because you're just going straight, but when you're parking or even just going around a fairly tight corner, you're really having to work the wheel. Now, I don't know if this guy's crazy or you just can't hear us because we're in an electric car. There you are. Well, sadly, my time's up with the Megacity. I'm now off to go and meet Helen Jones, who owns one of these cars, and I'm going to find out what it's like to live with one.
I'd heard of Nice, and I really liked the way that they were sort of more stylish than any of the electric cars that I'd seen before. And then, of course, living in northwest London and working in SW11, which is Battersea, it meant that even though I didn't live in the congestion zone and my place of work isn't in the congestion zone, it was going to cost me £8 to drive down to work every day. Battersea hasn't got great public transport, so I was relying on a car, and it just seemed a really viable option then, with all the money that I'd be saving on congestion charge, having to do the journey regularly. I just thought it was the way to go. There's less kind of road rage in a sense because of the way that you drive it. It's not an aggressive drive, it's more relaxing. It's just a whole totally different experience.
If you had to say one thing you don't like about it, what would that be?
People try to burn me up, get a lot of attention, people looking at you, which is quite funny. So I wish that more people were driving them. If I'm going out of London, then I tend to think I can't really take the car, because if I know it's going to be, say, more than about 25 miles, 30 miles one way, then I can't get there. So I make other arrangements. So I guess that's the only thing. So an increase in range would be fabulous, but it doesn't affect me on a day. What I bought it for, it does. It's perfect for.
That's one down, one to go. I've been beamed down into Goingreen's G-Wiz, and now all that remains is to see how it compares to the Megacity. It's time for a face-off. Two very little cars, two very big, different driving experiences. This is completely different to the Megacity. For a start, it's a lot punchier. I mean, I'm pretty much up to 30 straight away there off the lights, and that's on the low power mode of this car. The other one, the Megacity, I was having to switch it into the boost mode quite a lot for that car. This engine is much faster. Generally a bit nippier, accelerating as well. So when it comes to performance, this is a clear winner. When I'm coming up to that sign dreaded by most motorists, it's the congestion charging sign. But fortunately, I can drive through it quite happily because I don't have to pay a thing because I'm driving an electric car. Smug, me. Well, you may be wondering what exactly is so green about an electric car, and you'd be right to wonder. Well, there's two things really. One is exhaust pipes. This car doesn't have any, so it's not putting out any CO2 into the atmosphere right here, and more importantly, it's not putting out any nasty particulates straight into the city for people to breathe. The other part of the equation is obviously carbon dioxide. Most cars create carbon dioxide by burning petrol, but this one, if you power it at home and you've got a green electricity tariff, it's theoretically completely CO2 free. Obviously there's some involved in the manufacture of the thing in the first place, but to run, which is 90% of most cars' CO2 impact, it's carbon neutral. The driving position is right in the window screen. My head's virtually touching the ceiling, and I've got the seat back as well. It's also got the diddiest steering wheel you've ever seen, so it feels a bit like you're playing a computer game. The notion of it having 4 seats is a bit spurious too, because I've got my seat not that far back and there's no room for an adult to have their legs here. So I'm not sure that I agree with its description of it as a 4-seater. Yes, if you've got kids, fine. No, if you're planning to get a family of 4 adults in here. The other fittings are there's some weird little quirks. The windows aren't normal electric or wind-up ones, they're these strange sliding ones. So the whole thing adds up for quite unusual driving experience. The question with electric cars obviously is, where do you get the power? These things only have a range of 40 miles, both the Megacity and the G-Wiz. Well, in central London, the answer is just outside. We're at one of 2 free charging stations. I should warn you in advance, I've never done this before, so it's almost guaranteed to go wrong. Okay, well I thought this was going to be really complicated, but actually, it turns out, let's shove that in there, it's as simple as plugging in a mobile phone. Standard 3 pin, in she goes. Oh my god, it works. This car's just so small. It really is. If you the closest I can describe it to is a smart car, or actually cycling for that matter. You can get around anything. So I mean, I'm being really cheeky here and just nip down a space that no one else apart from the scooter behind me can actually fit down. Well, we're in central London again, and we're now going to go and see Caroline Marks, who owns a G-Wiz just like this.
It's cheap to run. I mean, it only costs 42p apparently to recharge it. There's no road tax. The insurance is really low. I can park it anywhere. As a family, we can all fit in. I mean, my husband's 6 foot tall and he gets in the front, and I have 2 teenage daughters who are about my height, and you know, the thing is, it's not for long journeys. You know, you can all get in, and you're only going to be travelling for the most 20 minutes or so. So it's ideal, really. The only thing is you can't have a lot of luggage as well.
On the one hand, we've got the G-Wiz, which has got bags of character. It's a cultish appeal. It's very Marmite in terms of whether people like the design, and it's also clearly the better performer when it comes to acceleration, top speed and braking. On the other, we've got the Megacity, which is much more like a conventional car, but it doesn't have the character of the G-Wiz. So really, this is a question of what sort of driver are you?